Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Madeline Landry.
Hi, I'm Eric Generous.
Hunter Clemenceau.
Caleb Browner.
Elizabeth Cooper.
Okay, we're just going to start off our meeting today by going over our goal, which is to discuss the problems that with customer complaints and employee arguments at Execuware and develop a solution to make sure our customers are satisfied and our employees cooperate. So we're basically just going to use the reflective thinking technique to just find a solution to our problem today.
Okay, so I think one problem is there's a severe lack of communication between the different levels that's causing problems.
I think hiring somebody who hasn't had much experience at Execuware to such a hot position also causes some problems.
And I also kind of think some people don't exactly know their roles, I guess, because you need to know exactly who to answer to with some things. You can't change things at the last minute. You need to know who has the authority to make those decisions.
The evidence that I've seen, like that there is these problems, is there's been like wasted time and resources.
Yeah, inefficient change orders, definitely. She didn't have any time, and then everything was on back order for a day or two, I believe.
Does anybody else, can they think of any evidence that shows that these are actual problems?
I mean, there's a clear argument between the vice president of marketing and the person in charge of, what's her name?
Jenny, I believe.
And the unsatisfied customers.
And the unsatisfied customers not getting their clothing on time, that's true.
And having your employees vent to each other isn't really a good way to take care of things.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we think our biggest problem that we need to clear up here is?
Probably the lack of structured communication between
the tops and the bottoms. Okay. So criteria. What do we think? Some 3 things we should say for criteria.
Probably time should be less than a quarter to straighten everything out and get good customer reviews back. Cost I think should be less than a month's profit is what I mean, I don't know if that's what y'all would agree with.
Well, I think it should definitely, you should see that it decreases the material and time wasted, because that's, that's what I think. But I mean, what do y'all think should be our definite 3? Definite the time.
Definitely,
Yeah.
Per quarter.
I think the materials and materials is a good thought, because a lot of times they're wasting materials by setting it up for something else and then changing it in the middle.
I think we can probably include that in cost as minimizing cost
Time,
factors.
material, and cost.
I think something that's core is we need to make sure the solution establishes a clear communication chain.
You just need to make sure that
set in stone.
you need to make sure that people follow that time limit, because I know it said that there was a time limit to make changes to orders, but they didn't follow that.
Yeah.
So it's kind
So
of
clear communication, limit time, money, resources, and within a quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So does anyone have any possible solutions?
The chain of command should have to be followed from president to vice president to the person in charge of the actual production.
Okay. I think that because there is the lack of communication, I think there needs to be some kind of, whether it's a database or something, where if someone makes a change, everyone's it's shown right there. Okay, there's a change to this order and how it'll affect everything else. I think that needs to be put in place, because that affects the communication between top, middle,
I think
bottom.
maybe radios too, and go workplace.
The PA system.
Right, so they could be hey, maybe try and get in touch with someone, because Helen's MIA, who knows where she was. If she had a radio, they could have been able to probably get in better contact with her and figure everything out.
Alternatively, some sort of electronic communication system it shows a receipt, so you can't say you didn't get the message.
Yeah. Something that's
You always be notified no matter where you are.
proof that this person said this. or they said I could do this. You
And
know,
time
that kind of
stamped as
thing.
well, so if it came in
Yeah.
after the deadline for making changes, then they're not liable for any changes. So it's the
Exactly.
employee.
Yeah.
I had another thought of maybe just set aside times for meetings, not like every day,
Yeah.
every week, but there needs to be meetings where everybody's there, so everybody's still in the loop. It's
Just
not,
kind of a check-in.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's.
yeah, from top down to
So
bottom.
establish
Yeah.
a control point once
Yeah.
a week. Okay.
Yeah. And because I feel like that will also, it'll help to kind of narrow, someone will be like, oh, I control everything. It'll narrow down, like, okay, you are in charge of this. There won't be like a overstepping
Yeah.
of power kind
And
of
I think
thing.
that's what the biggest issue is. Like, people are.
It's not
they don't-
really clear
They
what
don't
they're
know.
in charge of.
Yeah, they don't know what they're in charge of. They don't know what they can and can't do. You know, that kind of
We
thing.
could potentially avoid the need for a meeting if it's a system where you can constantly check an updated version of whatever's on the schedule for production that week. And it
Kind
could
of like
just be-
that database kind of thing.
More or less, but I think with a database that would require a little bit more cost to implement it in the first place. I think if you use some software, put it on an app or some sort of website or web service you can access from anywhere with internet on your phone, on your computer. They don't have to install any new computers. Most likely the employees have phones. So I mean that minimizes the cost impact.
Just something that keeps everybody in the loop, basically.
And they can check it like their email in the morning or whenever
Yeah.
they get to work.
I think I also think that when there's a change order, it should be made apparent to the customer that their order is to be pushed back for about a day or two, so
Yeah,
that
I
the
think
company has
the-
time to.
The policies for like customers should be like more set in stone, because like they were just like, oh, like this is like if you change your order, they're like, okay, like yeah, sure.
It'll be
Like
changed
they should be
immediately. is what they
penalized,
think.
maybe
Yeah.
like, oh, like it's gonna be a week later now that you changed it, like 2 days before we started production. Like if
Definitely.
you would have done it earlier,
Yeah.
it would have been different. But
So
Okay.
what solutions do we have? Let's run through the ones that we kind of came
Okay,
up with.
so we have like a new software slash database thing that will show updated orders, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And that everybody is, in the organization is able to see. Not just everyone on the work line, like all up and down. That was one. Another one was
Meetings.
meetings.
yeah,
The customer
change
poli- yeah.
command. Basically, everyone knows what their job is. I was going right.
Yeah, that kind of went with like meetings
Yeah.
and narrowing down like the scope of power and command kind of thing. The change in customer policies and making them more like concrete. Was there any more?
I think that's more or less what we kind of came up with.
Okay, so how do these work with our criteria? With the software database thing. So the criteria of getting it implemented in 3 months.
That's doable.
That's
definitely
yeah, I
doable.
think that's definitely doable. Then we want to decrease material time and cost.
I think logistically organizing it via the computer will at least help keep things organized and efficient
More-
enough
yeah.
to minimize. If there is an additional amount of material that needs to be used, it'll be minimized if it is.
Yeah. The only thing would cost a little bit to put it
Yeah,
into perspective,
But,
but in the long
run,
run, yeah.
Yeah.
efficiency of it come into play, and
Does
Would
the
take
software
that.
alone establish a clear communication chain? So does it establish authority figures for who has the say to change a production schedule?
On its own, I don't really know that it does have like. I think
I did have the thought that you could change, or you could have basically logins, so only certain people have the credentials to access changes. Everyone
Yeah.
can read it, but
But
only
to
certain
change it.
people can change it. I think that could be
Yeah, that
implemented
would-
into the
that would make
software
things a
to
little
make
clearer.
things exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that solution pretty much meets the 3
Mhm.
criteria.
I'd agree.
So the other solution, meetings.
Wouldn't cost anything really,
No.
apart from the opportunity cost of lack of labor at that. those
Wouldn't take
meeting
too
times.
much time either. I mean, you're not going to have
Not daily,
Every
like,
day.
every other week, monthly, like
Yeah.
whatever. Not every day.
yeah.
but it's like we said before, the cost of being organized kind of trumps everything else that you lost.
The meeting also kind of requires employees to be attentive and remember or take notes of anything that's discussed in the meeting, so it doesn't necessarily include something they can refer back to if they've forgotten a detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that can be done in 3 months easily.
Sure.
So does that help with communication, making it better between all of the?
I think it'll facilitate communication. I don't necessarily know if it'll establish a clear chain of communication.
I think it might ruffle feathers is my
That-
thought
it's
between
possible.
different levels, because like, okay, well you are now, you have to stay in your lane, blah blah blah. So then that causes,
It's
probably
just like,
it might cause
if
friction between.
If the employees are willing,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Like they have to be up to it, and if not, then
it would be detrimental
Yeah.
instead of
I feel like it's kind of trial and error, kind of see if the communication gets better from this,
I feel like it would also be beneficial to have maybe every quarter team building exercises. A lot of companies do that. They go on retreats, stuff like that, get to know each other, get to know their strengths and weaknesses.
Maybe like
Yeah.
mandatory
Yeah.
retreats like that and stuff.
And then so the other solution was
The customer.
customer policies and stuff. It will be changed, like 3 months, that's easy,
Yeah.
to do
That's
that.
definitely doable, but I'm not sure it meets the other two criteria.
Because
And
it's only communication with the customer.
and not the inside, which is like the main problem. That
Yeah.
we're facing.
That's mostly up to Dan because he communicates with the customers
Yeah.
more so of anybody.
So it doesn't really clear up any of those issues.
Yeah, it starts
between-
with the employees.
Yeah.
So you have to fix that problem first.
Yeah. So, what do y'all think is our, in y'all's opinion, best solution?
I think that the software combination solution is probably our best bet for this.
I think so too. With
Yeah.
maybe combining in the meeting slash.
Yeah.
I would say a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because that way you still have that face-to-face
Yeah.
meeting.
You could probably push, if you have the software, you could probably push it back to quarterly meetings, like a lot of companies
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Then kind of in the software, just things that come up before you get to meet,
Yeah. I think that covers the base of face-to-face software, keeping everything in line,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Would you all say we could come to a